Have you ever thought that your kids understood why you made a hard choice only to find out that they didn't? My 6-year-old once made a shocking revelation that shook me to my core. Today, I want to share that story, what it taught me, and why we should always speak to our children. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. I'm Lisa, and here we discuss long distance parenting, gratitude, and emotional connections. If you are new here, hit subscribe so you don't miss out on these real conversations. This one is especially close to my heart. When I decided to migrate, it wasn't a well thought out decision, but in the back of my mind, I dreamed of building a better future for my kids. I told myself that they would understand someday this sacrifice that I'm making is an investment in their future. But what I didn't realize is how quiet those explanations had been. Having been caught up with bills, adjusting to a new country, I didn't really spend the time to have a deep conversation about my reason for leaving. I just told, I didn't really ask. As it turns out, kids don't always ask directly. They develop their own silent answers. So here's some context. I have 3 kids who are currently ages 17, 12, and 7. When I migrated 4 years ago, they were just 13, 8, and 4 years old. It's so surreal to even think about right now. But anyways, one day I decided to have a conversation with them about how they felt, my reason for leaving, what they thought, why was I in a different country. So I decided to hear their perspective on the matter. So I asked, what do you feel? What do you think? Why am I here? Why did I leave? Right, so the oldest, he said to make a better life for us. The second one, she said basically the same thing but in different words. No, I've always reiterated my reason for leaving with the 2 older kids because in my opinion they were able to understand and grasp certain concept. But for the younger one, I didn't really speak to him much about it. So since the youngest was just 4 years old when I left, I didn't really have these in-depth conversations with him. Conversations with him were lighter, more around what types of toys he wanted, what types of gifts, how he was doing, but nothing in depth as to why I was leaving. Our conversations were mainly just chill. Right? So now on this given day, when I decided to speak to my kids about how they were feeling, why I left, my youngest, he was 6 years old. Right? He was 6 years old at the time. So, after I asked the 2 older ones, I asked him, because he was always in the background. So he's always in the background. So he basically knew what the conversation was about. So when I said to him, why did mommy leave? He said in a kind of a statement / question, he said, I don't know, because he want other kids. Man, I'm telling you, my heart fell 50 feet. Something in me moved. Everything just dropped. I had to contain myself from not bawling or bursting out in tears on the phone. I was like, what? To myself, what? Is he really thinking this? This is so deep. I never really thought that my son would be thinking that, I want other kids. So I had to explain to him that, listen, that is definitely not the case. Mommy is away, but she's here trying to work, trying to make sure that you are okay, trying to provide for you and your brothers and your brother and sister, and just basically explain to him the situation, telling him how much I love him, that listen, no other kids will replace you. You guys, you are my children, and that will never change. And after I spoke to him, I could hear the relief on the phone. He better understood what was happening, and he said okay. And from then on, we were able to continue to speak about stuff. He started asking questions about he was always asking when I'm coming back, but now the conversations were more open and he was able to relate to me. My absence to him meant rejection. I will never forget that moment. To this day, my body, I still get chills. I still feel my body just dropping, like something inside of me dropping whenever I think about it. So, it's very good to speak to your kids. All it took was one honest conversation to rewrite the story that he had been carrying. So here's what I learned from that conversation with my son. Right? Kids, they see everything. Though they don't always understand, they notice. So a big part of why my son thought that I wanted other kids was because every time we would talk, most of the times that we would talk, during that period, for about 1.5 to 2 years, I was always around other kids, right? So he was always seeing other kids in the background, other kids were talking to him. So that's why he had that understanding that I wanted other kids. The second thing I learned is we must always ask our kids open-ended questions. We get a lot more from these questions. Instead of just saying, "How are you doing?" They might just say, "I'm doing good, I'm fine, I'm okay." Sometimes just one word, "Okay." But when you ask more, "What are you thinking about? What do you think about?" These things will help them to open up and share more with you. The third thing I learned is that hard topics, including separation or financial difficulties, are not too hard for them to understand. All we need to do is explain them in simple terms, lovingly. The fourth thing I learned is that when we stay silent, our kids fill in the blanks. Kids experience deep emotions and sometimes draw conclusions that are not reality, sometimes far from the truth. So we should always spend time to speak with our kids. And finally, we are affirming our children. We cannot do too much of this. It's never too much. Keep bond alive by constant positive reaffirmations. I love yous can't be too much, especially when you're a long distance parent. It becomes like a chant. You say I love you so often. Well, I say it so often. Looking back, there are many things I wish I had done differently, but I am grateful for that shocking revelation. It reminded me that conversations deepens bonds and heal wounds. So, whether or not you're a long distance parent, don't underestimate what your kids are feeling. Don't take it for granted that they understand. Take a moment, explain why you do what you do. You might be shocked at the revelations that you may come across. Have you had a shocking revelation from a child, from your child? Share it in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. If this story spoke to you, give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who you think may need this reminder. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for choosing to connect with your kids. Until next time, this is Life In with Lisa.